The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Welcome to Bass number 562. Zach is on his way up the stairs. Mike's on his way, and Andy and I are here.
Hello.
So we will see. I thought Zach might have made it by the open, but I guess not.
He was in on a blistering pace, going from traffic to parking to his apartment to the show. So He may, it's a dangerous thing when you're in a hurry. So maybe
he's got to negotiate those garbage trucks too, which can really throw a wrench into things.
I think the garbage trucks aren't due for another 30 to 40 minutes. So
you would think, but they've shown up at differing times. I'm just saying it could have been one of those weird days where they showed up early, and
those wild bastards, those garbage men, they can just catch you off guard.
It's just it's an unpredictable variable in everyone's life in Southern California.
I'm curious to get Zach's thoughts on the whole Angels thing that about the whole fentanyl. Of all the things, fentanyl, I mean, opioids is one thing, but Alex says, can confirm, garbage trucks are on the way. Thank God. All right. Alex, tell Zach, we're so happy to hear that your garbage service is on time and running smoothly. So I feel relieved.
Yeah, because Tyler Skaggs was the dude that died, right?
Correct. Yeah. And I mean, I think when he died, it was already really sketchy.
Right.
But this was the whole, let me pull it up so I'm not just pulling stuff out of my ass. It's Tyler Skaggs, because it was, I think, a trainer. It was a staffer, Angel staffer Eric K, I guess, and he was running sort of an opioid ring, in the locker room or among the Angels organization. I guess looks really bad in a lot of different ways, but it is one of those things also where drugs in pro sports is not new.
No.
But fentanyl is fucked up, man. That's essentially just like skanky heroin, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what fentanyl is for? It's for end stage cancer patients where they've given you everything else and you've built up such a tolerance to it that this is the only thing that will keep you out of pain is the fentanyl. It's not as a recreational drug. Here's Zach. As a recreational drug, I can't even imagine why you would want to do that. And I'm pretty sure, and again, I don't know for certain, my girlfriend's a nurse and I know a little bit about this stuff, but I'm pretty sure it comes in a patch. So it's meant to be time released. And it's, like I said, it's for really pain that just can't be treated in any other way. It's very, very powerful. People die of it all the time. And I don't know why anybody go out. If you want to catch an opioid buzz, grab yourself 3 Percocet and have yourself a party. But for fuck's sake, man, fentanyl, really? Hello, Zach.
Hi.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, I would have been right on time, but our apartment complex has its own set of keys for the door, and that's attached to the garage door opener. And I have 1,000 keys on my keychain as it is, so I keep them separate. And I left it in my car, so I walked from my car up the stairs to the door, tried to open it. I'm like, oh, it's locked. Oh, I left my keys in the car. Shit. And this was, 5 minutes ago. So
we saw that you were en route. We were coming up the stairs, and we're like, "Hey, he's gonna make it." And then you had to go back and do as I say in NASCAR, I said the pit area too fast or something.
Yeah, I had to do a turnaround at 4:03. Otherwise, I would have been able to turn it on and come in at the very least at the end of the intro, and nobody would be any the wiser.
Yeah,
but here I am.
So we were talking about the Tyler Skaggs thing and the whole thing with the Angels, and Andy texted us a little while ago with the drugs
with Eric K and the whole thing. Yeah, so I actually have an interesting connection there because Eric K has worked with the Angels for a long time. Big SoCal guy, went to Cal State Fullerton, I believe, and his brother, who who also was a baseball player, went to Cal State Fullerton, is the head coach at J. Sarah High School, which is one of the top baseball programs here in Southern California and the best program in the area that I cover. So I talk to Eric K's brother all the time. And he basically acts as like the football sports information guy for the high school. It's again in one of those top football leagues. So I have like, if I really wanted one, I'd have an in on this story, but I don't think that Brett would really want to talk to me about it. But anyway, that's my small connection to it. It's unfortunate in so many different ways, and like what is it now? 2 years out from Tyler Skaggs' death, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know if it's a tragic story or if it's a thing to, this kid threw his life away, or if it's the organization to blame, if it's Eric K to blame. I as an Angel fan, I haven't really kind of wrapped my head around the story completely at this point.
I think it's got to be the guy. I could be incredibly naive right now, but I kind of think that the painkiller thing isn't as big a deal in baseball as it might be in, say, football. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, for a starting pitcher like that, where you're, tearing up your rotator cuff essentially every time you go out there.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised by it.
No, I just
I got to think that there's more normal ways to treat that than to go the opioid route. But I mean,
yeah, but you know what the worst thing?
I don't know.
You know what the worst thing about opioids is that they work, and they work really well.
Yeah, their addiction is unlike anything else because it's euphoria. You know, every time you do like a morphine or heroin, whatever, any of that stuff, like it's like the purest high, especially if it's good shit. And I would assume that and I mean, I have no experience here, so I'm just going off what I read. But I feel like it could be very easily, addicted in a major way. So even if it's just like a temporary thing to relieve some pain and get you through something mundane, that rush is probably, a pretty enticing thing to chase. And regardless of whether or not you're actually just doing it like in the NFL, to where they're just kind of doing it to manage pain or concussions, things of that nature, with like marijuana, things of that nature. But like baseball, it does seem a little trippy because it's not that type of sport. I mean, yeah, like you said, the pitching is maybe excusable, but I think it's just an addiction thing. And Skaggs, Skaggs?
No, go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
I was going to say, wasn't Skaggs found with more than just fentanyl? Like, I thought he had more stuff in his system than just that.
I believe it was also alcohol, but
that's a common. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's no wonder he's dead. If he did fentanyl and drank alcohol on top of it, I don't know how you survive that. We were talking about it before you showed up about fentanyl being just this incredibly strong. I think it's opioid based.
Yes.
And it's basically for end stage cancer patients where they're just, like I told Andy, they've reached a point where morphine or, 5 or 6 Percocet or Vicodin a day just isn't getting the job done. It's a patch that they slap on, and it's like this slow release, extremely potent painkiller. And for the life of me, and look, I've made no bones about my drug experimentation over the years. It would never even occur to me to try to get a buzz with that stuff. I'd just be like, that is way, way, way above my pay grade. No way. So it's dangerous. And I don't know about like where you guys are, but here, I bet you we don't go a week or 2 weeks without hearing about another kid that died from that shit, because they'll take it from their parents or they're getting it on the streets or whatever. And they slap that, or they eat the damn thing. It's like a patch that they eat. They get the full dose all at once. It's horrible. It's a really bad idea for a recreational drug. I'll say that. I won't even go into the whole, whether or not you should do it. If you're going to do recreational drugs, there are far better choices, is what I'm trying to say. It's horrible.
Yeah, I have to imagine here, especially with the type of money that can go around here, that it's in no shortage. Where I live, and again, when it comes to like what positions in baseball would you need this for, I have to think the pitcher is probably the top of the list. Pitcher or catcher. right?
Yeah,
In terms of
I would say so. I
people
would
that need to
also
fight
say
pain.
though that I don't know what their pain level is every day, but I got to think that if they've reached a point where where if they're taking it solely for the pain, they've really probably got to get out of the game because they've either built up such a tolerance that nothing's going to help, or they're they're like killing a fly on a horse's ass with like a sledgehammer. It just doesn't seem to be necessary for the kind of pain you would have. I would think that if you're a catcher and you've had a tough game and you're sore afterwards, like a Vicodin would do the trick. I don't think you would need fentanyl for that. I hope, but I don't know. I don't know what the whole story is. I
I could see a thing with with these pitchers because they want to avoid the surgery so much,
right?
Or even so that surgery is so common, in the game now that you do all you can until surgery is the last option for you to do. Or I'm sure different guys take different angles, but I'm sure there are guys that are like that where it's give me all you got until my arm literally falls off and then we'll reattach it. And I'm sure there's other guys that are like at the first sign of any pain, like let's just do the surgery now so that I don't have to deal with it later.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it seemed like Skaggs was known as a guy that his whole catchphrase that the Angels and we the fans kind of adopted immediately after his death was his thing of saying, "Oh, we're nasty." That was the idea. Like, "Oh, we're nasty. We're going to go out there and give them all we got." And he sounded like the type of true blue competitor that would go after and try to do everything he could to get all he could get done on the mound. And if this is the way that he was doing it, and that's unfortunate. And then on the other side of it, it's even more unfortunate that this Angels employee Eric Kay was, at the center of it and supplying it to even more guys. And who knows who was taking it over these years, because Eric Kay has been with the team for a very long time. So who knows, the depths that this went.
Well, another thing too, I think
just another notch in the belt for terrible things that the Angels have done in recent years. So that's good.
I think another thing we should probably add to this too is it's entirely possible that Tyler Skaggs just had a drug problem, and pain had nothing to do with it. It was just a matter of he liked it and went for it. It was like Andy said. I mean, I've taken painkillers. I remember one time, I had gotten a tooth pulled, and they gave me painkillers for it. And I went to work and I took one. And I mean, this is just one little pill. And dude, it fucked me up so bad that I was like slurring my words. I couldn't talk straight. But oh my God, it was like the best feeling in the world. Mm-hmm. So sure. I understand how you get there. I really do. But it could just be he has a drug problem. And this guy, I don't know this Eric Kay guy, if he's a kind of like what the NFL guy would have been, say back when Brett Favre was like, hey, so-and-so tighten me up and that kind of thing. Is it like is it like it's just available to anybody that wants it, or is he dealing drugs? Because I mean, they're both dealing drugs, but one is a lot shadier than the other. I guess there are matters of degree.
Sure,
I think.
I think based on what I presumed his role to be with the team even before this, because I knew who Eric Kay was ahead of this whole incident. I assumed he would be the guy that it would be a thing of, he can get it if you want it.
Right.
And that's how I assumed his role was.
Yeah, not like he's making it like he's got a side hustle going where he's dealing drugs.
Yeah,
but that he can, like if a player comes up and says, "Man, my knee, it's fine, but it just hurts all the time." Okay, I can fix you up. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I know in Ohio, and they really crack down where I think you'd have to be having like your arm amputated to get any kind of pain, any kind of opioid painkillers at this point around here.
Yeah,
they won't do it.
Yeah, and it's all the story is also tough because again, like for me to kind of get my head around, because in the initial aftermath of it, it was for Angel fans, we kind of took it as another Nick Adenhart situation where we had young promising pitcher, especially Skaggs, who was supposed to be the leader of the staff going forward, and to succumb to something tragic like we didn't know what it was. We could assume that it was a drug overdose of some sort, but still sad nonetheless. And then, so I went to the first home game afterwards, and the Angels threw a combined no-hitter.
I remember
what was supposed to be his start. And then after the game, all the players they were all wearing number 45, and they all put his jersey on the mound, and it was one of the most incredible nights at a baseball game I had ever seen. It was the first and only no-hitter I've ever been a part of in person. Well, full no-hitter. I saw one that is technically a no-hitter, but that doesn't actually count. When Jared Weaver once threw 8 innings of no-hit baseball at Dodger Stadium, but the Angels lost the game 1-0, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Anyway, for Skaggs, this was like this incredible emotional moment, and it's something that us as Angels fans kind of rallied around, and it was amazing. And now I can't ever think about this in the same way because of now the cloud that is going to hover over this whole situation. And part of me wants to just ignore that cloud and just live in that moment of the emotions of that day and that situation. And part of me wants to never think about it ever again because, well, it's
I think in fairness, I mean, if he had a drug problem, that's no reason to what's the word I'm looking for? Just to shelve him, and be like, fuck him. But you know what I mean? So I don't know. I get what you're saying though. I mean, it's tough because you go, wow, this is really cool, but now we got to kind of have an idea of what actually happened here. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see because generally, as a rule, these things when they start digging, it's not like it's just this is a little bit here. Usually, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper the further you dig, and that's interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean I wouldn't let it kind of tarnish your memory of that event. I mean that's a pretty amazing moment, thing to see. I mean, no hitter or not. I mean, just the like you said, the moment at the mound and things like that. There's no shame in that and hanging on to that memory. I wouldn't let it. I wouldn't let it like ruin it. I mean, you may want to like just kind of have that other thought around and be like, just contextually, he died of a drug overdose and it tied into this other stuff or whatever. But like in the moment, it was pretty amazing. You can have it both ways in this context. Interestingly, I think that I don't know, but this kid Jimmy Hayes today, he was played with the Rangers, the Blackhawks, a couple other teams, the Devils,
Florida.
Well, or was that Kevin Hayes? I mean, I'm getting it mixed up. Anyway, established NHLer. He died today. He was 31 years old, and he leaves behind like a 3 and a 6 month set of kids. And I mean, they found him at home. He was dead at the scene. They don't suspect foul play, but I mean, you got to think, there's only so many things that can come up in this situation. So, I mean, everybody's, mourning right now and pretty sad about it that, at least their teams are tweeting all this thing and anything that anybody, the NHL that knew him personally. But when you die at 31, it makes me wonder just what the hell happened.
Right. There's only a couple things.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're hoping for it. I mean, okay, if he's going to die, okay, that's sad, but let's hope it was like a pulmonary embolism or something like that.
Yeah.
And not
right. That it's same thing that happened when Skaggs died. It's like we hope that it's some unforeseen medical complication, as sad as it still would be. But there's really only it's either drugs, suicide, or
pulmonary embolism,
or medical issue.
But let me get Mike in here while we got a chance.
A couple of those are more likely than the other.
I think he was celebrating like his kid's birthday or something, either today or yesterday. Hey, Mike, we're talking about Jimmy Hayes, the guy who died today.
Oh, gotcha.
And just kind of talking about how that ties into the death of Tyler Skaggs from the Angels a few years ago. So I don't know. It's dead sports. When you're dead this young,
a happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday to you.
Right,
Dead guys.
Yeah, like I said, you hate to see anybody go that young, but if he's going to, you hope it's like a congenital thing that he had, that it was just going to go one day and nobody knew it, or an embolism, something along those lines. You don't want it to be another fentanyl death, or he overdosed on, I don't know, do people even still do cocaine anymore? Or that,
I'm sure someone does.
But anything like, or methamphetamines. I mean, come on, let's just hope that's not the case, because that shit gets really old.
Yeah, we'll see. It just reminds me.
Speaking.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Andy, if you want to.
All I was going to say, just a brief thing that it reminds me when this is like 12 years ago or something. The Bears traded a second-round pick for from the Buccaneers for Gaines Adams, and he was like 26 years old. And within like a month of the trade, he died of an enlarged heart. And sadly, a lot of the first thoughts on sports radio were like, do we get our pick back? Like, does that negate the trade? Because he's
dead. No.
So, I mean, anyway, go ahead. Feel free to.
Well, speaking of guys coming back from the proverbial dead, I got to think that the biggest story of the weekend amongst us, we didn't talk about it a whole lot, is the return of CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you guys, I watched the clip of that. And that crowd, I've never heard a crowd act like this before.
The CM Punk showing up at AEW Rampage. So
yeah, now you should be surprised that I'm the one bringing up the wrestling in this.
Yes.
Right?
Just a bit, yeah.
So, look, I don't give a damn about pro wrestling. I never really have. There's a couple things that I've always, that interest me. But the one time that I got like legitimately in for a bit was when CM Punk hit his zenith in WWE.
Oh, the promo where he said Vince McMahon just needs to die.
The pipe bomb, as it's colloquially known. I don't care about wrestling, but I care about CM Punk, and so when I saw even a bit of a rumor, I got ready. I was like, oh shit, Punk's coming back, and of course I had to work Friday night for the first time with football season, but. I as the kids say, I was a mark for that clip, right?
Yeah, that was that
when they started playing Cult of Personality and he walked in the ring and the crowd's going nuts, just like that clip. Just injected into my veins.
It was one of the coolest things I've seen in wrestling in maybe 20 years.
I'm gonna dig up where he when he first comes out,
and it was. It was insane because like he was crowd surfing at one point, and like it's like I haven't heard I legit haven't heard a pop like that from a crowd since the 90s.
The last time I heard a crowd that loud was probably
maybe Daniel Bryan stuff, maybe, but
there's
that's about it.
There's a couple really huge crowds that were hot as hell for Daniel Bryan like 6 or 7 years ago. But certainly, like I would say, it's up there in like the top 5 pops in wrestling. I mean, because Stone Cold Steve Austin probably has at least one, if not two, of the biggest.
Well, I mean, the big Stone Cold pop is when he comes out to help Mankind against The Rock.
Right. That's probably the biggest wrestling pop of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to top that one. But the CM Punk thing was pretty cool. I didn't see it live. I watched it probably a couple hours after it aired. I just kind of was watching it on my phone and it was just so cool because it's been 7 years since he was in a ring?
Yeah, 7 years. Yep.
And
well, if you listen to his speech, it's been more like
17 years.
Essentially, interesting, but
really cool. He basically said like the last time he was involved in pro wrestling was Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And it's basically saying WWE is a joke and not wrestling. It's just kind of a circus of entertainment and mismanagement, and so I think that it was pretty much a perfect return, and I'm curious to see how he does in the ring. With
he's going with Darby Allin, which should be an interesting thing.
Yeah, and I mean he's
I gotta say though that when we're talking about like me and my level with wrestling. I was like, I'm watching this clip. I'm like, yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, you tell him, Punk. Yeah, WWE doesn't matter. And he's like, I got some scores to settle in that locker room. Like, oh yeah, tell him who you gonna go after, Punk. And he's like, Darby Allin. And I'm like, okay. I'm lost.
Darby's fun.
They show it. Was he the guy that was in the rafters with the half painted face? Next
he was hanging out in the rafters with Sting. So
I might have the clip, guys, if you guys want to see it.
Sure, why not? Watch a little bit of it here.
Play here. Listen to this crowd.
wrestling is pretty amazing. Quality in a fervor.
Hey, man.
Wild.
And apparently everyone got free ice cream.
Yeah, for ice cream bars.
Right.
They're all like marking out, man. Listen to that.
Like, and this nonstop noise goes on for like this entirety of this first clip. It sounds like it went all the way through the commercial break, and then he finally, speaks eventually. But it's like it sounded like it was just pure noise for at least 5 minutes.
It's one of these things where, to get a bit in the reads about pro wrestling, where like I think AEW kind of did it right because you have CM Punk. He comes out to his music. The crowd just goes crazy. And aside from maybe like a few little bits here and there, the commentators just let it play out. Like you just watch him. He walks to the ring, he's hugging everyone. He's crowd surfing and you just take it in. And then you jump to SummerSlam, which was the very next night. And they had two returns on that. Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar both came up at SummerSlam. And in both cases, when the big returns happen, like WWE's gaggle of idiots they have behind the commentary table just don't shut up.
Oh my God!
Oh my God, Cole! It's Brock Lesnar! It's like, yes, Pat, we can all see that it's Brock Lesnar and his stupid new haircut. And
the commentary,
you
WWE's commentary ruined. What's that? Sorry, Zach, go ahead.
No, I said Brock looked a little inflated in some of those pictures I saw.
Yeah, and he had his Viking beard and a ponytail. It was like a really weird look for him.
Brock Lesnar has a ponytail?
He does now.
Wow, that is weird.
It's like a samurai top knot thing, yeah.
Yeah, but he's but like again, you have like WWE, you have two of their bigger stars in Brock Lesnar and Becky Lynch returning, and the commentators just can't let those moments speak for themselves after they're all screeching like idiots over each other, and it's annoying.
The CM Punk thing needed no hype. The minute those notes fired up and that place just lost its collective shit, you just step out of the way and let that happen. If you're a good announcer, you do not get in the middle of that.
They only interjected, CM Punk has come to AEW. It was fine. It wasn't like a big organic thing. And Jim Ross said something like, this building hasn't been this loud since the days of Jordan. And, that's debatable, as loud as it was. But I think that, WWE's problem for the last, God knows how long, last 10, 12 years has been like, there'll be a surprise. Out comes Brock Lesnar or whatever, and the commentary will go, read his shirt marketing slogan, like, it's the beast from the east or whatever. It's like, you fucking ruined it.
Well, it's like they give everyone these stupid nicknames. I remember, one of the best wrestlers to come out of Japan in a long time is Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah,
Lord knows they've ruined him, but I remember I was there. I was actually in the crowd live at SmackDown when Nakamura made his main roster debut, and it was pretty cool. But then when I went back and watched that show again online, they were going, it's the sublime artist Shinsuke Nakamura from the East, and it's like, go fuck yourselves,
just be quiet, And with wrestling, just like with fans, wrestling requires a finesse touch.
Could you imagine if CM Punk debuted in a fucking empty soundstage?
Well, he said himself. He said there's a press conference afterward. He said I wouldn't have come back if there weren't fans.
Yeah.
This, that's why they were in no hurry to have him return because of the whole situation with that.
Wasn't there two? I don't follow AEW. I don't really follow any wrestling. Rarely I'll see some things here and there, but my impression was that people weren't sure he was going to be back at this. Is that
so? So what happened was the rumors started circulating that CM Punk had signed a deal with AEW.
Okay.
And usually when AEW signs someone, they do a big thing on Twitter where they announce it. But, they never did. They never announced that CM Punk had signed with AEW. They the rumors were out there. Anytime people were asked, they would just say, "Oh, I don't know anything about it," or "No comment." Then what happened was a few weeks ago on Dynamite, which is AEW's main show on Wednesday, they had Darby Allin, who said that he was going to be at the first Rampage at the United Center in Chicago, and he said he was ready to take on, quote, the best in the world, which is CM Punk's catchphrase. And then what they would do is that got everyone excited because people knew the rumors, and now like the company was losing their shit over it. The company was sort of hinting at it. And then what they would do is at AEW shows, anytime like the crowd would start chanting CM Punk, they would like zoom in on the people doing it. And so they never really announced, they never said CM Punk is going to be at Rampage in Chicago. They never said that, but it was like very strongly hinted at.
Yeah, but the rumors are there, and you're coming to his hometown. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Unless it was actually not happening, why would you not do it like that?
Yeah.
It created this perfect storm of awesome.
Like Punk himself was posting stuff like The Dark Knight Returns on his Instagram and the date, and it was the worst kept secret, But it was also a fascinating thing because it was almost like a textbook example of how to hype and promote in the age of the internet. It's like it's not a secret, but it's also a secret. Don't hit us over the head with it. But
I think that's the thing that when you mention in the age of the internet, Andy, it's like everyone knows everything now, thanks to dirt sheets and
sure.
And people listen to Meltzer and whatnot. Everyone knows everything, but like there's always that doubt because dirt sheets have gotten stuff wrong before. As they say, plans change. So like everybody knew CM Punk was going to be at that show, but then there's always that doubt in everyone's mind. Like, what if the deal fell through at the last second?
Yeah.
What if? Yeah. And then the music hat hits, and it's like, oh, okay, no, he's here, and then you lose your mind. So, there are ways to play with the fact that everyone knows everything, and if you kind of just lean into that the right way, you can still get a huge pop like this.
I have a question because seeing that crowd at the United Center and that reaction and the production value. I maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's safe to say that the AEW is a more than viable competitor for WWE at this point.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to bring that up because, like, I knew that AEW was existing. It was founded by former wrestlers, right?
Former wrestlers and the son of the guy who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Is it like Chris Jericho, one of the guys that's got money in it? And,
but it's a bunch of wrestlers and Tony Khan.
And I know that they had gotten their TNT spots, but I, having never like taken any of it in really until that clip, I was kind of blown away at how, like you said, Greg, the production value and just the crowd energy for this. It looked no different to me than WWE, and obviously it's not the same thing as like a WrestleMania where you can fill a full football stadium or anything, but like as an untrained observer watching the TV product for the weekly show, that looked as just like the same or better than what WWE can offer.
Yeah,
in terms of like crowd participation.
WWE tends to be like, I don't know. In my opinion, WWE I think tends to be overly slick. Like they've covered everything they can with LED lights. Which
it's a kids show. It's a kids show now. Like AEW is for wrestling fans. WWE is for children.
I would say too that just the size of the arena was because I was okay if they played like at the like Toledo has the Huntington Center, which is about half the size of the United Center.
They AEW. So that's one of the big things is that to quickly diverge into some minor wrestling history. The biggest competitor that WWE had prior to AEW, after the Monday Night Wars ended, was a company called TNA. And TNA ran their shows.
I remember the ads for TNA.
Yes. Yes. TNA ran their shows out of a soundstage at Universal Studios. And it was cheap for them to do it. It made sense for them to do it given their financial situation. And if you are a wrestling fan and you just kind of gave it a chance, it's like, okay, some of this stuff isn't bad. It's fine. But, if you are not a wrestling fan, Zach, as you said, just like an untrained casual guy who's just tuning in, you see it and you see this show happening on a soundstage with like maybe 100 people, and you go, okay, this is not the same thing as WWE. This is obviously not. And then, AEW came up and they're like, no, we're going to go on road. We're going to go on the road. We're going to go to like real arenas and we're going to put the show on the road. And it's worked out for them so far. They're selling tickets.
Well, don't you think too that didn't they we talked about them 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether or not they could be a viable competitor to the WWE. And we were kind of like, well, if this and that, I think they got there faster than any of us ever thought they would.
No, they debuted on Dynamite. They debuted Dynamite on TNT in late 2019, and within I think 5 weeks, TNT had already re-upped them for an extension.
Yeah.
So it's something that they're drawing between 800,000 to 1 million people on TV every week. They're selling out stadiums. They're never well, you never say never, but at least in the immediate future, they're not a threat to WWE. WWE is just too big. But, as far as being a viable competitor, I mean, they're there. Yeah.
Alternative might even be a better word.
Yeah. Like they are a viable touring alternative.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was the weekend itself in terms of wrestling was interesting because after seeing Punk do his thing on AEW, it got me to go find old Punk clips and watch some stuff on YouTube. And in the world famous pipe bomb incident, one of the things that he criticized WWE for was bringing back guys like The Rock to come in and win championships despite not being on the road with them all the time and putting in the work essentially. Of course, as I try to make a big point on Q or the trash cans.
Nice.
So it was just funny to me that the time that Punk comes back to what he deems his return to professional wrestling, after 15 years, 17 years, that what is WWE doing at SummerSlam? Well, they're bringing in John Cena out of the ice to go.
John Cena and Bill Goldberg are going to come back.
Right, yeah. Goldberg and Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar, they're all coming back and they're all winning and wow. And it's like, I found that to be kind of an interesting juxtaposition between
they're
WWE's normal fare.
They're basically doing everything that he criticized them for.
Well, basically,
it almost felt to me like WWE was doing all it could to be like, no, don't look at the flashy thing over there in the corner. Look at us again.
Yeah,
it's this case where WWE, they bring back all of these people, and it's because from their point of view, there's no one else. You go, okay, we need an opponent for Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. Bobby Lashley's this big dominant champion. Who's he going to fight at SummerSlam? And you look at the roster. And there really isn't anyone. There are no viable challengers. And then so you go, well, shit, let's just pay Bill Goldberg a bunch of money to come back. And he's 54 and is just one bad bump away from a wheelchair. But, fuck it. He's a big star from the 90s. We'll pay him whatever to come back because there are no names that are big enough. And you go, well, why aren't there names that are big enough? And it's because the potential, they haven't built new stars. WWE hasn't built anyone worth giving a shit about. And the few people they have had who people gave a shit about, like Punk, they let go. So, they really don't have a choice. It's like they need to bring back Roman Reigns. And not Roman Reigns, John Cena. And they need to bring back Bill Goldberg. And they need to bring back Brock. And, the rumor is that after Roman Reigns is done with Brock, he's going to fight The Rock again. The Rock's going to come back. So they keep bringing these old people back because they don't have anyone on the current roster who's big enough to fill these big show spots. You have to sell out a football stadium for WrestleMania. You need someone people are going to care about. And in an ideal world, they would have spent the last 20 years building up new stars who people would fill a football stadium for, but they haven't.
Well, I mean, it's very similar to like those few years with the Super Bowl halftime show was a bunch of ancient, decrepit bands that were just like barely holding together.
Well, that's because Janet Jackson flashed everyone, and so they're like, well, we need to like no sex appeal whatsoever.
Yeah,
Janet Jackson's boob got us Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Right. I mean, nothing against like the Who or the Rolling Stones. Like all the respect in the world to their legacy and the impact on the music industry, but like. There's nothing really appealing about seeing, an old sad dude try to like channel the 1970s and just his looks like shit and skin is all wrinkled and falling off.
We've all seen Dad break out the old guitar, and it's never as good as it once was.
It just doesn't work. It's better to have, and they have gotten better, but it's the same kind of vibe where like you can't trot these guys out forever. You gotta get some new blood in there.
I mean, I will say this: I was for the longest time the biggest Bill Goldberg mark. And now, God bless him. He's one of my favorites of all time. But you look at him now, and it's like, dude, you look old as shit, and you can barely walk. And it's time to just leave the memories alone.
Zach, do you think you're going to start regularly watching a little bit of AEW just to kind of see CM Punk and see what he does?
Yeah,
or are you just kind of watch from a distance?
I think because here's what happened the last time. When Punk hit that high in WWE, where the reality bled into the show for actual real shit was going on in the wrestling ring, which was like, oh, okay, now I really don't know what's gonna happen. I don't like it. It could all be fake, but I don't know anymore. Eventually, it all kind of went away, and like. You would watch the rest of the show, and I just did not give a shit about anything else that was going on. But that's all that's to say. I think I might. The problem for me is like now that all this is coming back, like when my working schedule is coming on, so anything that I take in will probably just be via YouTube clip, which is probably for the best, honestly. So I don't have to watch the rest of the nonsense that's going on.
Just to say something, like when you mention how when Punk did his thing in WWE and we kind of hit that high and how it all kind of dissipated, that is a phenomenon that us in the wrestling fandom like to call getting Triple H'd. It happens occasionally.
Yep. Well, because when I was watching those clips, I watched the one where he sits down and does the whole thing, and then the other one where he got in Triple H's face, and it's like, oh yeah, now I see why he wasn't allowed to do anything afterwards.
Yeah.
But no, I'll give AEW a good shot because it does look like they're putting on a good product, something that's kind of spurred by the passion of people for wrestling, for the entertainment, for specifically these guys. But I also know that at a certain point it may hit this is silly portion, and I'm just, it depends. We'll see how it goes. Cause I think I was trying to think about why I cared so much about Punk when I did. And I think it really was the blending of the real reality and the reality that WWE was trying to push, and Punk, broke those walls and broke that fourth wall and really kind of made what was happening in the ring real and not just, the fake scripted stuff. And that's what lit that fire.
That tends to be, from a historical standpoint, what works in wrestling, in garnering a fan base. Like, the story that always kind of gets told is that when wrestling really took off in the mid 90s, it kind of started with the NWO and WCW. And what they would do there was like they'd have the NWO guys just running roughshod, where like in the middle of the show they'd take over the production truck, or they'd start throwing people into walls like just randomly. And you'd go like, I know what's supposed to happen on a wrestling show, and it's not this.
Right.
And so it would blur that
and that
line.
was, that was kind of, I mean, maybe not exactly mid NWO, but the only other time that I've cared about wrestling in the way that I cared about Punk was when I was a kid, and it was Stone Cold and The Rock. Because everybody, when you're a kid, like even if you weren't watching wrestling every week, I played the wrestling video games. You know who Stone Cold and Rock were, and they far exceeded whatever the boundary of the regular WWE fan was to become mainstream.
Yeah,
and Punk did that too. I mean, it crossed over into like Bill Simmons's podcast as like a thing he talked about.
Yeah,
every week.
So building off of that, Bill Simmons, ESPN ran a story on CM Punk, coming to AEW. So that's some mainstream press. That's some good mainstream press.
Well, you can't have these events that are there's a lot of crossover in ESPN viewers between like watching the sports that we all watch and watching wrestling. It's not like the two are mutually exclusive. Like you guys. I mean, like you and Andy, you're big sports fans, but you also watch wrestling. ESPN eventually had to acknowledge that, and I think try to drag you guys in like for wrestling news, which is silly because you're not. I'm not going to go there for NASCAR news because they cover it a little bit, but not very much.
Right. I would love to see who ESPN would get to talk about wrestling on air. Like,
well, I see that's the thing. They don't.
Melrose is always the answer. The answer is always Barry Melrose.
I don't like when there's been a couple times where like after WrestleMania, they'll put WrestleMania highlights on SportsCenter, and it's like that's stupid. No, let's not do that. But like, sure, if there's a .com story about it, that's different. I mean, people are interested enough to like see it, but I don't need it. I don't cover wrestling like it's a real sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's
an entertainment product that can be covered.
Remember, Zach,
on the outside.
The E and ESPN does stand for entertainment.
Yes,
it's just not. It's you don't. I feel like you don't want to muddy those waters because I think that part of the charm of pro wrestling now, at least it is now, not in the past, is to kind of understand that it's all been set beforehand. The results are already locked in before they go out to the ring. Like I was trying to explain my fascination with wrestling to my wife the other night, just talking about the CM Punk return and what it meant and everything like that. And it's one of those things where I don't watch it nearly as much anymore. I usually just catch up via the Squared Circle subreddit and YouTube clips and Twitter, and just kind of vicariously intake wrestling that way. But it's one of those things to where I enjoy how the sausage is made immensely. Like the product that comes out is just like the frosting on the cake. But right. I live and die for the like backstage stuff. Wrestling autobiographies are some of the most fascinating things to read. I highly recommend a few. Bret
Hart's is amazing.
Yeah, if you want to read like 600 pages about a pissed off, like just a bitter, brutally honest person, like Bret Hart had, he wrote about 20 years of like serially cheating on his wife and doing drugs and punching Vince McMahon in the face, and he's got so many stories. These people live very colorful.
That's what I kind of liked about Bret Hart's autobiography, because he did not sugarcoat anything.
Hell no. Like the last line of his book is basically like "fuck Shawn Michaels," "fuck Shawn Michaels," and "fuck Vince McMahon." Like he pulled no punches. But compared to like say like a Mike Singletary or an NFLer, if they wrote an autobiography, they'd probably talk about their 7 to 10 year NFL career. These guys, a lot of them wrestle until they're 40 or 50, and depending on the condition of their body, and have just like decades of stories to tell. And all of them are colorful and weird and interact with other people who are extremely colorful and weird before you get to the drugs and the sex and the wildness. So I don't know. It's a fascinating circus that has always been a circus and will always be a circus. But it should not be on SportsCenter. No, it's not like we got breaking news here. Bill Goldberg, just lost to whoever. It's like, that's not a big deal.
John Cena retains his WWE. Like, no. Don't do that. Yeah. Don't retain these records. It's
if CM Punk comes back and they can break the story, that's fine. But I think I'm with you guys. I mean, showing highlights is just idiotic.
It doesn't make any
Well,
sense.
and even
Here are
I mean,
highlights from tonight's episode of Mad Men. Watch
Yeah,
Don
right.
Draper. It's like you get that this is all scripted, right?
there are certain or I guess it would be more akin if like they did like a highlights of The Bachelor or something, but like
Don't give them
I
any
think-
ideas.
yeah, right. Well, I mean, hey, that ABC Disney synergy, right? No, but like there are certain times where I guess it kind of makes sense to report on them. Like in theory, Punk was an MMA fighter for a minute. Like you could cover him as a former athlete. Brock Lesnar was an NCAA wrestling champion, for God's sakes. Like
he UFC champion for a while too, wasn't he?
yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep. Kurt Angle won an Olympic gold medal in wrestling
with a broken freaking neck, as he.
Right. There are ways to cover these guys. Some of them as actual athletes, but then like John Cena is not like one of those people. Like John Cena is a pure
John Cena was fantastic in Suicide Squad, and that's where I'm gonna leave that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm overly excited for the John Cena HBO Max series that they're gonna make on that character, but whatever. Him and his giant lunchbox hands, it's fine. Anyway.
Well, what's weirder? That or Idris Elba as Knuckles?
Hey man, paycheck's a paycheck.
Yeah, people gotta work.
I mean, that's one that I don't know what to do with. Like, I'm sure it'll be cool.
Fine. Yeah.
But like Knuckles doesn't sound like Idris Elba. So,
no.
Unless he's like putting on a voice, or if he's just gonna be Idris Elba voice as Knuckles, that'll be weird as hell. But yeah, I really don't know what to do with that information.
I still to this day I remember seeing Idris Elba in an interview after I'd watched The Wire, and when that dude broke out that British accent, I went, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." I mean, Stringer Bell was, that he completely brought that person to life. Like Stringer Bell wasn't just a guy acting. That was Stringer fucking Bell. He was so good. And then he starts with, I'm like, what? Wait a minute here. My whole world's been shattered. What the hell's going on?
That's like the guy from House. Like he gets
him
right.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my God, he's very English.
The worst one for me, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Band of Brothers. It was an HBO series way back, like 20 years ago. Anyway, the guy that played this character, Major Winters, it's what's his name? Damian Lewis, I think is his last name.
Yeah.
Anyway, he played this American, like guy that went from lieutenant to major to or captain to major. Big part, one of the main characters in the whole story arc of 10 episodes. I'm like, this guy's really good. I've never seen him do anything before. And then I see an interview with him, and he's British. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. This is better English than I do. American English. It sounded more American than I do. It was amazing.
I think that's kind of a common thing for like when Christian Bale wasn't known to a lot of people, and he was Batman. He made his Batman debut. He did all of his promotional interviews in his American accent, and then later on,
really?
Yeah, he did like a few like talk shows. Just I'm a Christian Bale, and I'm
Christian Bale.
He didn't do that. No, he didn't go that far. But then if you watch
a new Batman film by Christopher Nolan. Go get your tickets.
Can you trust him?
I just wonder,
where are the tickets going?
Are there American actors that are this good at doing British accents?
No.
I don't think there are.
I think the best one was definitely Jesus Christ, in Dracula. What is his name? Neo. Keanu Reeves in Dracula. One of the best English accent performance of all time.
What about Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes?
Oh God.
But it would be like if I think that our version of their accents would be like if everybody came over here and did the "Hey y'all, it's just like we can't do what they do.
Well, you asked a regular American person to, what's your British accent? It's, hello, governor. It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Hello. Go on, Gabs. I'm British, I am.
But like you asked, I'm sure if you asked a generic Brit to do an American accent, they wouldn't just go, "Oh, hey, y'all, we're from Texas."
Yeah.
They'd probably give you like a flat Mid-Atlantic American, or they either do that or like a Valley Girl California accent.
It's just astonishing to me because I mean, I've seen our actors portray British people, and I go, this accent sucks. I mean, and I'm not even Brit. I'm going, this is not. I mean, you've got British actors around you. You don't sound a thing like any of them. You drop like Damian Lewis or the guy that played House, Hugh Laurie, or Idris Elba into a spot, and you'd never know the difference. You know, it was just like, oh, you're not American? No shit, really?
Incidentally, I just want to remind everyone that Christian Bale played Moses once because that's hilarious to me.
Kung Fu Action Moses.
Yeah, Kung Fu Action Moses. Yeah,
I didn't think that movie was too bad.
It was all right. Like that movie was far better than Christian Bale playing Batman playing Moses had any right to be.
So I got an audio here of Keanu Reeves' British accent.
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay.
Can you guys hear?
Of course, sir. I'll attend to the count. Thank you for your confidence.
This is a great opportunity for you, Harker. But you'll have to leave Transylvania immediately. Opportunities such as this come but once in a lifetime.
Yes, of course, sir. If I may inquire, what in fact happened to Mr. Renfield in Transylvania?
It goes on. It's fucking terrible.
Yes, sir. Of course, sir.
It's embarrassing.
If I may inquire about, it's all in the R's. If you don't do the R's right, you sound.
I'm sure we have American actors that can do it but that's the thing too. There are so many variations of the British accent where if you can nail like what they call the Midwest accent, and you're pretty much good to go. And you'll play throughout the whole country, even though you might not. Like, you know, there are variations, like in Southern Indiana sounds a little different in Southern Ohio than does in Northern Ohio, but you know, people across
we're not asking them to sound like they're from Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
Right.
Or
yeah, but they will buy the accent if you can do the Midwest accent.
I would love to hear a British person do a Yinzer accent.
Oh my God. We were in Florida, Mike. We were there been there about 3 weeks and went to this little beach, and these people from Pittsburgh, we were talking to them, and she actually dropped a couple of yens on me. Like, Yen's doing this. I was like, oh my God. I'm actually in the presence of a real one. And it was everything that the stereotype.
Yens know we're going down to Florida.
It was crazy to me.
I can't even do it right. It feels weird coming out my mouth.
Was everything that you think a Yinzer would be. It was so amazing. I was like, this is really, it's annoying the shit out of me, but it's
ask her if the Steelers are going to the Super Bowl.
The Steelers?
Yeah, she goes, where are you from? I said, from Ohio. She goes, where? I said, about an hour west of Cleveland. Oh, just like that. Oh, it's like, yeah, okay. We won't talk football, but
you're a Browns fan, then you might as well be a fucking terrorist.
I think that was shortly after we kicked their asses in the playoffs too. Now that I think about it,
you're not talking about football. I say talk about football with soccer, British soccer and football. Like that's you know. That's,
okay, I want to ask British Andy what his favorite football team is.
My favorite football team is probably Arsenal. Whatever. Fucking soccer football. I like to watch the one team, the Dragon advertisement team that hits the ball into the net. And I shout at the pub with the other mates and I say, oh, jolly, gee, goody whiz. I eat my bangers and mash every day, I do. I'm British Andy. I am from Britain.
I like British Andy better than alt-right conspiracy Andy.
Yeah,
alt-right conspiracy Andy is pretty fucking good. I gotta say,
it's easier. It's much easier to do British Andy than
alt-right Andy is fucking insane.
But I do have. I'm not sure if you want to save this for a little bit, but I do have our Big 4 3-way ready.
Yeah, let's
do it.
Okay. Let's dive in before we offend any other
British people.
I'm not listening.
We have at least two British listeners on the show.
Boy,
so
these bloody wankers are talking down my club. How dare
they? I'm not listening to this podcast no more. I'm not.
This podcast is rubbish, isn't it?
All right. So, who would like to go first?
Mike's
I went first last time.
I'll go first.
Mike goes first.
I'll go first.
Okay. Mike, would you like the NBA, NFL, NHL, or baseball?
Let's do baseball.
Baseball. Okay. What 3 MLB franchises have never had a pitcher win the Cy Young Award?
Ooh.
Okay. Okay. Shot in the dark here. Tampa Bay.
False.
Oh, okay. Okay.
2
Washington.
sorry, go ahead.
Washington?
Nope.
Okay.
I think I know this.
I'll give you a couple guesses, and then you guys can all pull your thoughts together.
Okay. Let's see. Not Tampa, not Washington. Okay. Hapless teams. Trying to think of like the Royals.
No, the Royals have had. Let's see. Royals have had 1, 2, 3, 4 players.
All right, I have no idea.
Padres.
No, the Padres have had 4 as well.
Really?
I have no idea.
I'm going to go with the Colorado Rockies.
That's one of them. They never had a
Shit, how did I not think? Well, that's the problem. I didn't think of them because nobody thinks of them.
I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers.
Also correct. You got one more.
Really? The Rangers?
I'm going to go with the... Boy, this is just going to be a wild guess at this point, but the Minnesota Twins?
No. Minnesota Twins have had 4 as well.
Okay.
Twins was going to be my other guess. Yeah. Huh. Colorado makes a damn lot of sense. Half your games are skewed.
The Florida Marlins.
The Miami Marlins have never had a Cy Young.
I could have swore they had one, so I got 2 out of 3. Not bad.
Can you name the franchise that has heads and tails the most?
Oh God, it's probably the Yankees, right?
No, the Yankees are Dodgers.
Cardinals.
Brooklyn/LA Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, God, you've got
that makes
Don
sense.
Drysdale, Sandy Koufax, Fernando. Clayton Kershaw. Yeah. Who's won the most? Like, just it was one pitcher. It was like
who's had the most in a career?
Yeah.
Don Newcomb. Or wait, no. Let me find that.
Most overall, not just for the Dodgers, just most Cy Young ever. Is it like
multiple one? Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens has the most.
Really?
Yeah, he's won it 7 times.
I don't know about that. All right. I mean, I'm sure he did, but I don't think he deserved all of them.
Yeah, Randy Johnson has 5. Steve Carlton, and Greg Maddux have 4, and there's a handful that have 3 below that.
All right.
Okay. Who would like to go next?
Zach, I want first and second, so you go second. I'll go last this week.
All right. I'll take football, the national.
Okay. Since 2000, 4 running backs have been named MVP. Who are they?
Ooh.
Adrian Peterson.
That's the most recent one, yeah.
Running backs.
I know one, I think.
These should be coming more like directly to mind, but they're not.
It's been a few years since there's been a MVP that was a running back.
Since 2000, you said, right?
Since 2000, yeah.
There have been 4 since 2000?
Yeah, and Adrian Peterson was the most recent one. I think that was like 2015.
Jesus Christ, why can't I remember it? Not Jerome Bettis, no.
2 of these players played in the NFC, 1 played in the AFC.
I think I know the AFC one.
Oh, LaDainian Tomlinson.
LaDainian Tomlinson, correct. Yeah, they got 2 more, both out of the NFC.
Yeah, how do I forget that one?
That's Los Angeles Chargers legend, LaDainian Tomlinson. I'll have you know.
the Crown Prince of Los Angeles himself.
Can I get a division?
I can give you a hint.
Okay.
Both of these players are on the cover of a Madden game.
Shit. NFC. I'm like trying to run through the teams as fast as I can.
One won a Super Bowl, and wore on the Madden cover. He did not wear the uniform he won the Super Bowl in. The other one did not win a Super Bowl. I'm trying to think of anything he's famous for. So there's one of them who was in the NFC. I guess it'd be the West. I don't know if it was at the time, the NFC West. Very unusual uniforms for the time.
Oh, Sean Alexander.
Sean Alexander. Yep, you got one more.
Award, really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I remember because that was that the year that they went to the Super Bowl?
I believe it was. I think it was
since 2000. Was Marshall Falk after 2000?
Marshall Falk was the year 2000. He was the other one.
And so then he would have been in the new Rams uniforms after they won them in the old uniforms.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. I was going to say Jamal Lewis when he had that huge year for the Ravens, but that wouldn't have been right.
No,
nobody on that Ravens offensive team was winning MVP.
Yeah, he went for, I think he went for 2,000 and some odd yards that year. He had a game where he rushed for 400 yards.
Yeah, but didn't they go 8 games without scoring an offensive touchdown?
That I don't know if it's the same team. I don't remember if that's the same year, but
yeah, no, and the Raven that would have been on the Madden cover was Ray Lewis.
Lewis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Greg. What do you want, the NBA or
a couple weeks in a row? I'm going to go hockey.
Hockey, NHL. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure that. Well, I won't say anything. In 2015, this notorious goon was suspended for 41 games, which is the longest non-lifetime ban, for his hit on Jacob Silverberg of the Anaheim Ducks. He was a San Jose Shark at the time of this. It is like I said, the longest non-lifetime ban in the NHL. Can you name this player?
I know
it right off the
Go
top.
ahead, Zach. Take it.
It's Rafi Torres.
Rafi Torres, a piece of shit. Rafi Torres. I fucking hate
Real
Rafi
piece of
Torres.
shit.
Never gotten that.
And he hit the hit he laid on Silverberg was in a fucking preseason game too.
Yeah.
So it's like, lay off, guy. Come on. We're all just trying to get to October 1st. Leave us alone.
He retired in shame not long after that.
Let me try the NBA questions.
Sure, why not? So feel free to pool your knowledge here for this one. Simple question: what teams did Gary Payton play for?
Oh,
Sonics,
Lakers,
Lakers.
Played for 5 teams: Sox and Lakers.
Shit.
Did he play for Boston?
He did. Boston Celtics.
Okay.
The Kings?
No.
Damn. Trailblazers.
No.
Right.
Pistons.
No. Come on.
Oh fuck.
I think he
no.
won a title. I think he won a title late in his career.
Oh wait, did he? I'm looking it up myself. Oh,
yes,
he did. Yes.
Miami Heat. Yeah. Did he win a title with the Heat? One of those Heat teams?
He did.
He did. Yeah.
2006.
Okay, you got one more. It was the team he played for after the Supersonics.
Well, yeah, he played there for all of a few games.
Is this going to be a trick question, or it's the Oklahoma City Thunder?
No,
he played 28 games for this team. Somehow started all 28 of them.
I didn't even know this happened. I didn't. I would have to look it up to see that he even played for this team.
No, he was traded from Seattle in 2003 to finish out the season with this team before he signed with the Lakers in the offseason.
Yeah, very, very relevant NBA team right now.
The Nets?
Very relevant NBA team. The Bucks.
The Bucks.
He played for the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks, for a cup of coffee with the Milwaukee Bucks.
28 whole games.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why I always thought he just was like Sonics and then went to the Lakers to try to win.
I would have said he went from the Sonics to the Lakers too, but I don't.
Like it was like I can't get it done in Seattle, so I'll go to LA, try to get my ring, and if not, I'm going home. I had no idea he played for 3 other teams. That's wild.
Well, there you go. Cool. There's your big 4-3-way for everybody.
Oh, he actually played 6 games in the playoffs with Milwaukee that year too. Jeez,
6, huh?
Yeah.
Who'd they go to 6 games against? I wonder.
Probably the Pacers or something.
Okay.
They played the Nets.
Oh, probably the Vince Carter Nets, maybe. The Kenyon Martin Nets, that era.
That was a fun era.
Sam Cassell, Tony Kukoc.
Huh. All right.
Oh, that's a team.
Yeah. Or I think those are the Bucks players for that team. Or that played. Yeah, that's Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles, Kenyon Martin, Richard Jefferson.
Yeah, pretty
Dikembe Mutombo.
Oh, that's weird. That's
He's dead.
Head coach Byron Scott.
I think Dikembe Mutombo's dead.
One of those big dudes died. Oh, it was Manute Ball. Never mind. Wrong guy.
See, Dikembe Mutombo, he's not that old.
No,
But the guys that are like super tall, like they die young for some reason. I don't know why.
He's 55. Yes, I mean he's
well. Look up like Manute Ball wasn't much older than that when he died.
Let's see, Bull.
Because when you get to like 7'11", I don't think you're quite as healthy as you might think.
Well, Dikembe is only 7'2". So
damn. Right. Yeah. Manute Ball was 40. He's 47 when he died. Good God.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I thought it was that. Not the Dikembe Mutombo was doing the commercials a while back. What am I thinking?
Yeah. No, not today.
He's like walking in a grocery store or something, right?
Yeah,
it's around the office, like people.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, he goes to the grocery store too, where the kids trying to throw cereal in a box.
Right. It's various different situations.
Yeah,
the Dikembe smacking down your.
Well, while we're here and we're thinking about it, and it seems to be a lull, do we want to do any more movie stuff this week? We don't have to get like as deep into it as last week, but
saw Free Guy the other day.
How is it?
Very good, very fun.
What is it?
As the thing that was really nice is that it was very original. Like that's the type of movie that has the ability to probably dip way too deep into IP references and game references, and they didn't really do that. There's a couple things at the very end that go on for all of 5 seconds, and they're used effectively, I thought. So fun movie. Like and based on the trailers, there's a whole like B plot to the movie that is not included in the trailer whatsoever that was actually kind of engrossing. So very nice.
I was going to ask you guys if you've heard of this show. I found it on Hulu. And it stars the kid that was in Hunger Games. It's called Future Man. Have you seen any of this?
No.
I've heard of it.
I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to tell you it's great because it's not. But it has some genuinely funny moments, and it's also got some really stupid stuff. But if you've completely run out of things to watch, I recommend it. I'll put it that way. Not
okay.
Bad. If you've run out of everything else, which I basically have.
I'm getting that point. Me and the wife have been watching, and that is, I'm not proud to say this, Married at First Sight. We've been binging the shit out of that show, and we're on like season 11, so we're almost caught up. Thank God. It is between that and Love Is Blind on Netflix. It's a smut crap. I mean, I don't.
No, trust me. I was in on the Love Is Blind train. I know that it's a car crash you can't look away from.
Yeah. Did you watch the update?
I haven't. I really want to though. I need to see these terrible people and what they've done with their terrible lost lives.
Like it's one of those things that I'm ashamed to admit that I watch and reasonably enjoy. Because it's just basically models, these vapid models that get selected to be because of their beauty.
Suck.
Yeah, the one on the Love Is Blind. These are just people that like they all need to be punched in the face daily. Like every single one of them deserves to be punched in the stomach in the morning and then in the face before they go to bed.
There's the one couple that works, which is kind of like, all right, fine, you found love, good for you. And the rest of them are just like, oh, you're all just. What is her name? Oh, the
Jessica is the one on Love Is Blind. That's just
well, there's Jessica is awful, but it's the girl that the guy turned her down at the altar, and she was like she had like some sort of Italian or Portuguese.
Oh, Gina Nina or Gemvadina or something. Yeah. Anyway, worst. It's one of those things where you just can't stop watching, and like the principle of it is. It's just trashy reality TV,
Jenna is 10 years older than Mark. What are we gonna do?
It's a bit. That's my girlfriend in the chat. She's
hit them both with the stomach in the morning and in the face at night.
Yeah.
No, like literally, that is her big hang up with this guy. She's like, she literally has a whole conversation with him, like, when I'm 50, you're going to be 40, and when we have kids, they're going to be like this age. And she's doing like,
wait, she's older than him.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, bro.
Well,
no. It's Andy, explain how it works.
So, Love Is Blind. The concept of the show, it's a very cowardly concept. So basically, they have these pods that are separated by just a very thin wall, where two people who can't see one another get to know each other. just by talking. And at some point, once the connection is intense enough, one of them can propose to the other after they confess their love or whatever.
The only way you can actually see the other person is to propose marriage to them.
Yes.
And you have to go through all the way to the
Jesus
wedding.
Christ, this sounds no.
So
the
you
idea
know,
is that love is blind, and you're supposed to fall in love with someone for who they really are and not what they look like.
right, but the cowardly part is that these are all models. Like none of these people are like average Joe looking people.
Right.
These are not real people.
My favorite thing though, Andy, is in the first couple episodes, there are other people in the background that are also participating in this show that you never see. They never made it to air because either they were boring or they didn't make a connection or whatever. But there are other people that just did not pass whatever entertainment level test to actually get included on the show, despite being put through the same experiment with the rest of these idiots.
Yeah, I strongly suggest you and Alex watch the update because it reveals you find out a little bit about Mark.
Yeah.
And it's worth watching. It's one of those things where I'm watching it and I looked at my wife and I'm like, why the fuck are we watching this? These people are terrible. But it's
and then you still don't change the channel.
No, hell no. I want to watch. I want to see the train wreck. You know, I want to see the inevitable unfolding disaster that inevitably befalls them. But movie wise, what did we watch? We watched two really messed up movies. One of them was We've Got to Talk About Kevin, I think was one of them. Which is probably 10 years old or so. It's a fucked up. It's very difficult to watch, disturbing movie. I got to think what the other one was. Feel free to jump in, Mike or Greg, if you guys have it on top of your.
The big thing that I watched was The Green Knight.
Oh, I want to watch that.
How was that?
It is very good. I liked it.
I wanted to get that.
It's based off of a story from Arthurian lore, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. The big thing that I would say is that it's an A24 film, so it's artsy.
Did they throw any baseball into that?
No, they did not.
Natural did because how well that worked.
No, they did not throw baseball in, but it is. I thought it was a fun movie. It did some really interesting things with the source material while also staying, true to it. But it is not it is the type of movie that you need to be into artsy films, I think, or else some of it's gonna, get lost on you because it is the type of movie that, to be perfectly honest, is a bit too in love with its own symbolism.
What's it called again?
The Green Knight.
I'll have to check
The
that
Green
out.
Knight.
I like artsy stuff, so I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, but it's beautifully shot. The story's pretty good. It's just that if you're going in expecting like an action movie, it's not going to be that. And the only reason I preface that is that when I went, there were people in the theater. There are a couple of frat boys in the theater, and and after the movie, they're like, "That was the dumbest fucking movie, bro." And I was just like, "Well,
you all sat through it."
Not for everyone, so it is one of those things. Or if you think, I would say that if you go in for the right expectations as to what the movie is, you will enjoy it.
Favorite frat boy moment of all time. I hate to interrupt you, Mike, but I'll forget this if I don't say it now. This was back in the day when you would go to the video store, okay? And this guy, he's, I don't know, like everything you would think he would be. Picks up the box. The movie is A Perfect Murder, and he goes, "I wonder what this is about."
I'm
just like, you've got to be. I'm like, I so badly wanted to go, "It's about," and come up with a completely different plot, but my girlfriend's like, "Just stay quiet." But he goes,
My favorite
rom-com.
My favorite frat boy moment actually took place. Maybe I think it was like a day after the election in 2020, because. I was out at this Japanese place, and the next table over, there were these frat guys, and they were like just completely like they were basically what your stereotype of a frat boy is, and they talked exactly like you'd expect frat boys to talk, but they were talking about the election, and they were going like, "Oh yeah, no, Donald Trump's isn't conceding," and like the other guy goes, "He's being a total bitch, bro."
That sounds like the vernacular. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. So something about frat boys, talking like frat boys, but talking politics just made my night.
It's just it's like watching chimps type stories on a typewriter or something. It's just fun.
Speaking of A24, by the way, the other movie I watched was Saint Maud, which is an A24 movie. I had never heard of it till the other day, but it's pretty freaky. It's a good like slow burn. Like if you like The Witch, you'd probably like Saint Maud.
I'll check that out. I like that kind of stuff. I've watched stuff that people go, "Wow, you like that?" I'm like, "Yeah,
dude, yeah." Good. I mean, have you seen Midsummer or
Midsummer was great.
I have read the Wikipedia for Midsummer.
Oh, dude, you haven't seen Midsummer?
No, dude. The movies like that are strict Wikipedia plot summary movies for me. It looks interesting. I don't want to actually take it in with my eyeballs, so I just like to read it. Like I did the same thing with Old, the stupid M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I did that with Old too, but that's only because M. Night Shyamalan has burned through all the goodwill that he's had.
Yeah, but it's like I see that. It's like, am I interested in this? Yes. Do I want to physically take it in with my eye sockets? Not at all. So I wait for the plot summary to show up on Wikipedia. I read through it and I say, oh, wow, that's messed up. And then I move on. I don't have to live with the mental images in my head of what is portrayed on screen. I don't have to live with that.
Interstellar, Hereditary, and Midsummer are amazing. They are fantastic movies.
Yeah, I that's the one with like the kid in the oven, and no thanks. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. I want to read about it.
I mean, Midsummer was great, and the girl from Midsummer was like the one good part of Black Widow, so that's fun.
Yeah, she was great.
One good part.
She was great.
So Greg, go ahead and watch Midsummer and Hereditary. They are disturbing. They are graphic. Yeah. They're fucked up.
Midsummer is not something that I actually want to see, but it's just like I can see how incredible it is. But it's
somebody threw an Interstellar while we were talking there, and I wanted to see what you guys thought of that movie.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I did.
Okay, I liked Interstellar up until the point where he went into the black hole at the end, and then he was like, "Love is a quantifiable scientific," and it's like, fuck off.
It's good. It's just it's an example of Christopher Nolan being a little too far up his own ass. But
yeah, I was Mike. I liked it until we got into the Tesseract there, where all the I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
and then they show up at the I don't even know what you call it, the tube colony where everything was like on a curve, and
then there was oh fuck, what was I gonna say? Completely forgot.
Well, how about when they left that dude on the ship for 23 years? There's no way that motherfucker's sane by the time they get back. I've been waiting for 20. Fuck that! I'd have been like, you know what? How do you start the scene? Get the hell out of here. That's what after about 2 days.
Fuck you guys.
That made it was great. I thought it was a good movie. It should have just ended with him going into the black hole. Like we didn't need to see everything else. The whole like I gotta go in the past and talk to Murph and play the guitar here through the Tesseract.
My love for Murph is scientifically quantifiable.
I'm the ghost in the book. This is me, Murph. I'm gonna tip you out.
Lincoln.
It's just kind of the whole, and then they end up on the Covenant Halo thing, and I don't know, it was fine. But overall,
I will say a Nolan movie I liked a great deal was Tenet.
I never saw that
I
one.
haven't seen that one. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Tenet is the best and worst of Christopher Nolan all at the same time. Like it's an incredible action movie, and it's well paced, and the plot is sort of interesting. But then it also gets again up its own ass a little too far, and it's like Chris Nolan trying to be profound, and it's like, all right, Chris, you're being weird.
What I like about Tenet is that they somehow managed to squeeze a lot of plot out of the fact that they filmed like half the movie at the Oslo airport.
Well, yes.
Which I could just imagine.
Half the movie is backwards.
Which I could imagine is just like them getting a good deal. Like they asked the city of Oslo if they could film their airport. Like, oh yes, we loved some Batman at the beginnings. Yes.
Good film credit. Yeah.
I like that I keep hearing it's not in my ears. I hear Tenant, And I think that it's just like a movie about a guy paying his rent or whatever. It's not terribly adventure.
It's got
Tenet, right? Like,
well, it's funny because it's Christopher Nolan and the new Batman actor. So that's
it's Tenet, Tenet, like
Right, it's a palindrome because it's the same forward and backwards and upside down.
But isn't that? I mean, I feel like he's done this before, like Inception.
Inception. It's basically Inception and Memento if you like slam them together. Like if you slammed Inception and Memento together, you get Tenet.
It's Inception and Memento with the action sequences of the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
What about damn it? What was the other one he did?
Dunkirk.
I didn't like Dunkirk. Did you guys like Dunkirk?
I liked Dunkirk.
It was a nice, tight 90 minutes of good shit. I enjoyed it.
I started watching Dunkirk, and I think like I ended up having to leave or something.
What I really liked about it was that what I really liked about Dunkirk was that Dunkirk came out at the same time as The Darkest Hour, the Winston Churchill movie.
Yeah.
And a big plot point in The Darkest Hour is the evacuation of Dunkirk, but they never showed the battle, so you could just go from one movie to the other.
You're watching Gary Oldman just smoke cigars and be drunk, and then you can pause it and then go watch Dunkirk and then come back.
Yeah, exactly.
I have read the successful savior of the troops.
I mean, to be fair, the real Winston Churchill was fat and drunk and smoked cigars. So
Dunkirk. I'm sorry, I can't endorse any PG-13 war movie. I just can't. Like any.
You want to see gratuitous violence?
No, I just want to see the realities of the horrors of war. Like I don't want.
When you shoot a brother in the intestines, it shouldn't just be like, oh, he falls down. You got to see that shit come flying out because that's what really happens.
I mean, I don't like, what was the one that Mel Gibson did, the World War II movie with something Ridge?
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge. There was a few moments in there where it's like, really, dude, did you have to show that?
Yeah, that I thought went too far in the other direction.
But like Saving Private Ryan is a perfect example of like the violence you need in a war movie because it's kind of subdued, but it's also like, shit, that's kind of what you saw.
Well, I mean, Saving Private Ryan. I mean, the famous shot there is the landing scene, right?
Yeah, the beginning.
If you take that, if you take away the first 25 minutes of that movie, it's still pretty good. But it's two different movies. It's like we're gonna storm the beach at Normandy, and then we're gonna go off walking around in the woods and try to find this fucking guy. It's
still good though.
Steven Spielberg presents. We're gonna walk around in the woods to find this fucking guy.
I mean, honest to God though, like if you want to identify how a movie when a movie loses its budget, quantify how much of the movie is shot in the forest. Because I feel like that's a good indicator of when.
So suddenly the Friday the 13th movies make a hell of a lot more sense to me.
Oh yeah, there's if you go back in like the 80s and part of the 90s and you watch some like B movies and shit, there's probably 45 minutes of the movie that's shot out in the fucking forest. They just went to a national park and just shot them running around. I mean, that's pretty much, they had to fill out the movie. So they would shoot. So
basically they spent the entire budget for Saving Private Ryan on the D-Day scene and then.
But it was well worth it,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that scene was just amazing.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. It really is.
But
the movie was good. I mean, I enjoyed the movie a great deal. It was just kind of like, like I said, they went from like, I mean, I get it. It's actually based on a true story, but still, it's like if we really want to watch, let's go watch the other guys go like fight the Germans or something, But
I mean, to get back to Dunkirk, like it was beautifully shot. But it also suffered from the thing that Nolan does a lot, where all of his movies are edited like a 90-minute trailer. Like you're just watching a trailer. It always it's it has this weird momentum to it that feels like it cuts out a lot of the fat and very rarely lets you kind of slow the pace down a little bit. You don't really get a lot of intimate moments, which is fine as a trademark.
And that was kind of the thing with the movie though, where it was being told the three different like speeds.
Yeah, it was very frantic.
Right. And and I did again. Normally, even yes, some Nolan films can be a little frantic. They're still long. Like Tenet is long, but Dunkirk is like so goddamn efficient with its time that it's like.
Well,
I don't know. I
what was it? I've never seen it. It was like fuck. We're trapped. Here come the boats. Okay, we're going home. That's it.
No. So basically, like there's I can't really. Explain it without like spoiling, but like there's
I know about
there's a story with the boats. There's a story with an airline pilot air fighter pilot, and then story with somebody that's on the boat coming to rescue the people off the shore. So.
All right. Is Tenet more efficient about having to self-explain than Inception? Because I feel like Inception was like half the movie was spent explaining itself.
Well, yeah, there are scenes in Tenet that is basically just so you're going to stand here and the scientist person is going to explain the plot.
There is one scene that does this, and it's literally, it doesn't make sense because it can't actually happen, and so you're just like when you're watching the scene, it's so painfully obvious that this is the necessary explanation I need to do to at least get you to buy into the rest of the movie.
Okay.
And now here's the rest of the movie. It's
well, it didn't with Tenet, didn't like some of the actors basically just lose the thread while they were filming and just like, I don't know what's going on. Just tell me what I'm supposed to
do. Like because from what
it's not very sensical.
From what I understand, like movies are generally, they're not filmed in order from front to back.
Very rarely.
And so even like with a normal movie, you've if you're filming it, if you're an actor filming it, you've probably got to piece what's happening together in your head. But then you have Tenet, which literally kind of inverts itself, as Zach said, half of it's backwards, and then I can definitely imagine an actor on Tenet just being like, I don't fucking know. Just give me the lines.
whole final battle of the whole thing.
Yes,
I still don't get it. Like,
no, I don't understand the final. I do not understand the finale.
It happens, and so like I see it and I take it in, and I guess I get it. But at the same time, it's like, how does this actually function? It's the most confusing thing I've ever seen.
It's like, we're gonna pull a temporal pincer maneuver, and it's like, what does that mean?
they explain it, they put it up on a chalkboard and walk you through it, but I still don't.
No, you're like, I'm just gonna watch the good guys shoot at the bad guys, and
wait, the movie's got like diagrams on a chalkboard. You're still going, I still don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, no. There is a scene right before the big battle at the end where they have a chalkboard.
Aaron Taylor Johnson comes in out of nowhere to be part of this movie as like a commander of the.
I was completely lost when he showed up. I'm like, did I miss him?
Yeah,
previously,
he's like the commander of the Time Forces. And,
he's
here to help.
Just Time Forces. All right.
There's a time.
There's a time army.
But there is a time army that isn't shown throughout any of the other part of the movie
until the end, where they need to storm the bad guy's time compound.
Man, I'm checking out.
This could be like the Godfather of the 21st century. The way you guys are describing it, it would be like, this just sounds fucking stupid.
Well, no, it is far better than we're making it sound, but it's also dumb.
For the two of you, I think it's worth watching for the two of you, just based on the movies I know you like. But it's you kind of lose the thread at a certain point, and you just have to say, "Oh, this is cool."
It sounds like they might have lost the thread a little bit too, and
then there's a guy who looks like Dan Goodman but isn't.
John Goodman.
And John Goodman, yeah, but it's not John Goodman, but it kind of and he's doing a Russian accent. And
oh no, that's Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like Kenneth Branagh. All right, okay.
Kenneth Branagh's pretty good.
Yeah. Kenneth Branagh. Well, to put it simply, he's shooting bullets backwards through time.
Okay,
and then the time army needs to stop him, and
So
now I am dissuaded from it.
So it sounds like I'm just going to
like movie reviews and that sort of thing. We'll stop from liking anything.
Yeah, I'm assuming I'll have to just the movie's just going to get up its own ass at some point.
Well, yes. And the other thing about this movie is, like, I love Christopher Nolan movies. I love the action. I love the suspense. And the sound has always been very good. This movie is so fucking loud. Like, the sound mixing for this movie is completely off. All the sound effects are awfully loud, just horribly loud. And like, seeing it in the theater was a cacophonous experience of like the music being too loud and then too soft, and then the sound effect being too loud, and it was weird, man. Yeah. I don't know. And again, Christopher Nolan did the thing of half the movie, his main characters are wearing masks, and he doesn't ADR it.
I saw the character exposition. Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. And so again,
Victory has defeated you, Mr. Wayne.
in a movie that's already confusing, you have the main characters explaining what's happening with a mask on. And it's like,
well, it's in Interstellar. Interstellar famously had a lot of problems in theaters because there were parts when it was so fucking loud, like the score would be so loud, or the rockets would be taken off or whatever. You could barely hear the dialogue.
The problem is, okay, so Nolan likes big orchestral scores, but with Interstellar, the problem was it's like, okay, it's space, it's a black hole. It is one of like the greatest, most awe-inspiring forces of nature in the known universe, and so obviously he wanted a piece of music that was grand enough to convey that. So when the ship starts approaching the black hole, it's like, and you just feel like your head's gonna explode.
That's verbatim what it is. He described a microphone in Hans Zimmer's studio and was like, Hans Zimmer, and just said, "Yeah, Hans, can you just make that into something very epic and inspiring?"
Yeah. And that's the other thing about this movie. This is his first one without Hans Zimmer in a long time.
Oh,
yeah.
It's Ludwig Göransson, the guy who did The Mandalorian and Black Panther.
Okay, all right.
But he's trying to do Hans Zimmer,
right? And it's all completely like whatever music he was making, completely like taken out of the movie because we had to have the loudest noises possible going on. Look, again, I know Mike and I are describing a very bad movie, but I did enjoy myself.
Yes. No, I would say that if anyone is dissuaded from what we've said, give it a shot. Like it is good.
It's a good movie. It's just like
it just kind of gets crazy at a point, and you just kind of have to run with it.
It's a little too much Christopher Nolan at parts, and I think that's where.
Well, Christopher Nolan his reasoning for the movie was he said that he wanted to do like a James Bond movie, but that involved time travel.
Yeah. Oh, and Robert Pattinson just happens to be dressed exactly how Christopher Nolan dresses. So
yes,
there's that.
Which was weird. Like Robert Pattinson shows up and he is like mystery person from the future, and we never really get an explanation as to where he comes from.
Well, we do at the end.
People.
We do, but
yeah. Oh, and then the main character is he doesn't have a name. His name is Protagonist.
Yeah, the primary character of the movie is called the Protagonist, and
that's a little on the nose, isn't it?
There was something else about this movie. I need to quickly look it up because I remember it made me laugh.
We should make this like a special show where we describe. We're going to review a movie, but not in any proper way.
No, we just.
I mean, I'm all for like a movie talk segment. You know, like this is good shit.
I'm telling you,
we've dissuaded someone from seeing Tenet now because.
No, I think if you've liked all of Christopher Nolan, if you like Christopher Nolan's work, or even if you don't like it, but you're a fan, you're interested in it, I still think you should see the movie. It's just,
I'll totally watch it. Yeah, I'm totally gonna watch Tenet. Just like now, I gotta know. You know, I gotta know how weird it is.
Yeah, now.
So so the main character is called just the Protagonist, John David Washington. His character is just called the Protagonist. Yes, and then the MacGuffin that the movie is centered around is just called the Algorithm, and it's literally just boxes of nonsense.
That sounds like Space Jam.
Why not just call it the MacGuffin? I mean, if you're gonna go,
that would have been hilarious.
Oh yeah, this is the MacGuffin. This is the Protagonist.
But it's called the Algorithm, but it's like not an algorithm. It's like a physical series of just like these junky looking boxes that are apparently vital to time travel.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's not, it's not time travel. It's sending objects through time.
Backwards.
Or forwards.
Or forwards, yes.
So is it as dumb as
reversing the entropy of the atoms to make them flow backwards in time?
Is this concept as dumb as the one movie that had the curved bullets, the assassins that could curve bullets?
No, that was.
This is different. It's a different kind of weird. Yeah, like that's an in-universe physical weirdness, and this is like a extremely high concept sci-fi weirdness.
Okay. Next time we do this, I want to get your guys' input on, or at least I have no personal interest in, but Dune So Dune.
I'm looking forward to Dune. I'm looking forward to Dune.
They've been trying to get Dune right since I got out of high school. And I know they did the movie with Sting, and I forget who else was in it.
The Sting isn't even the main character of that movie, but that's all anyone remembers is the one it had Sting in it.
Kyle MacLachlan, who went on to fame in like Twin Peaks and a couple other things, he was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah. The David Lynch Dune movie is.
Well, there's your problem right there.
Yeah, David Lynch. Oh boy.
The David Lynch Dune movie isn't really bad, but it's not good either. But this new Dune movie looked like okay, if there's gonna be an adaptation of Dune that gets it right, it's gonna be this movie. If this movie ends up sucking, then the movie's probably just unfilmable. Then the book's probably just unfilmable.
Like
that's what I kind of got the impression.
It looks visually incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
well, who has read the book?
I've read all of them. I've read.
Well, Mike, you can give us the when it comes out, if it's how.
Well, here's the thing: if you're gonna read the Dune books, just read the first one, because like literally the books after the first one get weird, like really weird.
Okay.
So just stop with Dune. Dune is actually as confusing as Dune can sometimes get. It is actually a pretty straightforward, good story, and it should probably just be that. The sequel, the books that try to follow up on it are just really strange.
Okay. Well, yeah, and David Lynch, it's I don't know. I guess I'm assuming Dune is science fiction, basically, right?
It is, yes. Dune.
Not David Lynch's forte, science fiction.
So Dune is actually kind of interesting because, like, Dune, Flash Gordon, and Isaac Asimov's Foundation series are basically the science fiction works that inspired Star Wars. So
okay.
That's interesting.
You guys seen some of David Lynch's movies, by the way, like Mulholland Drive? And
I have never seen a single David Lynch film. Nor have I seen Twin Peaks. Like, people keep saying Twin Peaks is this amazing thing, and I'm sure it's good, but I just haven't seen it.
So dated now. If you see it, it's because we've seen it a million. It was good because it was original when they did it the first time. Mm-hmm. We've seen so many variations of it now that you're just going to go, I've seen this, except they did it better and whatever, you know? Yeah. But the David Lynch movies, Andy, if you like the weird shit, man, there's a couple of his you really got to watch.
I know. I've seen enough clips from David Lynch movies. I'm not a person who enjoys sitting through watching just bad movies.
No, they're usually not bad. Blue Velvet's very good, actually.
Yeah, well, it's like the one movie, Brazil. Did you ever see Brazil?
No,
that's not David Lynch, but it's a damn, I can't remember who did that, but it's I gotta look it up because the director is quite famous for making weird shit. Terry Gilliam.
Oh, Terry Gilliam. Yeah, that I don't like any of his stuff.
So I don't
know. Oh God, back in the old days, he did like Time Bandits and a couple others, and Baron Munchausen. No, I can't even follow his shit. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway,
if you're so by the way, as far as Dune goes, the main actor whose name escapes me is like Henry something. He's getting in a lot of stuff now.
Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet, yeah. He's pretty good in The King, which is on Netflix.
That was a good show.
It was fine. It's not like gonna knock your socks off, but if you want to get an idea of this actor, which is just say that he's just going to play the same character in every role he gets.
Yep.
He's just kind of like a stoic.
Oh yeah. I've seen him in. I saw him in Call Me by Your Name. I saw him in Little Women, and he's Timothy Chalamet. He's young,
Kevin
pretty
Costner,
boy.
the new Kevin Costner. Same guy.
That's a little bit too much of a compliment.
Yeah,
I feel like
he's like young, just like young, kind of emotional, pretty boy.
Okay.
I can't think of, but anyway, he's with in that movie, he's with Joel Edgerton, who I actually really like. Everything I've seen Joel Edgerton in, I've been pretty pleased with. But anyway, so pretty good little movie if you got a couple hours on a Saturday or something to throw on The King.
Well, I'm going to go back to, you were talking about those movies from earlier. I think that from the sounds of those movies you told me to watch, I think you would enjoy Blue Velvet by David Lynch. It's not like just but Mulholland Drive, I don't know. I'm almost positive he did that movie, but I still to this day don't know what the fuck was going on in that movie. But I watched it, and it was as weird as anything I've ever seen.
Was Mulholland Drive one of those that had like multiple stories going on in it?
I guess.
Was
I
it
don't know
this?
if it was multiple stories or just one that was really fucked up. It could have been both for that.
Wasn't what was the movie that had the weird scene where the guy's talking to he's in a diner and he talks about a nightmare he had that went just like this, and then
Yeah,
they walk out. That was at Mulholland Drive.
Might have been, yeah.
Okay, because it was just a weird vignette that only happened for like 15 minutes and then it was done. Like it wasn't in the rest of the movie, and it was pretty freaky. But I mean,
to this day, and people are like, oh, you don't know what it meant. I'm like, fuck no, neither do you. So don't even try to explain what you do.
Drop some acid and interpret it however the fuck you want, man. I don't know. But yeah, man, I will definitely have to. I'll sharpen up some of my movie and show stuff for you guys for next week, so I can, we can discuss this more. I love talking about this shit.
Yeah, we should do like a movie show because after this, we're going to be back into the NFL, 24/7, basically.
Yeah, we got what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think.
That's fucking weird.
Well, one more preseason game and a week after that, so 2 weeks. Yeah, yeah. We're going into our 10th year as a show, boys.
Yeah.
Fucking
Well, yeah,
crazy.
we got the NFL, or at least Labor Day weekend's always our starting point, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just want to say too, before
we're a week away from college. 2 weeks away from
we still haven't gotten to the SEC thing, but we will.
It'll be more relevant once it starts up here this
And
weekend.
we've got the SEC thing to talk about, and also we can. I don't know. Maybe you guys talked about this before I hopped on. Glendale kicked out the Coyotes.
Oh yes.
Oh,
how did we forget about that?
Well, Quebec City's sitting there waiting. Let's just do this and be done with it.
No, the Coyotes are going to be in Phoenix. I don't know where they're going to play, but they'll find some sort of short-term solution.
Whatever.
I look forward
unless
to
they force the jackhole owner that they have to sell at some point.
I look
jackhole, but
I look forward. I look forward to another Glendale City Council meeting.
Wolf Nordique 2.0 or bust. That's where I'm at.
I think we're done with city council meetings with Glendale, unfortunately, Mike.
It was I was going to tell. Has anybody gone to a big crowded event yet since this whole thing? Like,
I was actually at an AEW show last month. I was actually at AEW's first show with fans.
I was at the Angels' first game with fans. Yeah,
I went to my first big crowd thing Saturday night.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was fine. It was a blast. It was there's this they're a Led Zeppelin tribute band, but they're not like impersonators. They get like 6 musicians and they play the music flawlessly. There were 3,500 people there, and I walked in. I'm like, well, gonna put the vaccine to the test tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, I haven't been into anything since this recent surge of the Delta. But
supposedly we're pretty safe from it, but still, that was the first time I'd been in a big crowd since this thing started. And at first I didn't even think about it, and all of a sudden I looked around. I'm like, oh yeah. And like I said, I just said right out loud, I'm like, well, we're going to put the vaccines to the test tonight for sure. And
I'm scheduled to go to SoFi Stadium on October 3rd, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I was just happy it was outdoors. Oh my God, these guys were so fucking good. I won't drag the whole show down with it, but my goodness, if you like Zeppelin, go see these guys. Unbelievable.
I'll be in Disney. I'll be in Disney World next month, and I'm going to catch Epsilon. I'm going to catch all the new.
Yeah, no, I've done Disneyland twice. Did it twice last month. And
all right, say Pfizer. Got the Pfizer, so it's not called Pfizer anymore. It's called like Capulin or some weird bullshit.
It's the.
Is that
the federally approved Pfizer
or something like that, or
Community.
Yeah, what? Fuck, it's the Pfizer shot.
It's terrible. It's just the Pfizer vaccine. You don't call it.
I want to send my condolences to Michael Walker, who had to sit through an episode of Monday Night Raw live
in Texas.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll see. I guess I'm not gonna jinx myself, but so far so good on the big crowd.
Knock on wood.
But yeah, it was just it didn't even occur to me. I'm like, this is gonna be great. And then I got there, I'm like, oh fuck,
that's a lot of people.
For me and my 3 friends, right? That's good. That was it. It was gonna be great. But no, it was
certainly shocking. But I think I don't know. It depends on where you are, I guess.
Yeah, we were outdoors, which made me feel better, and it was crowded, but it was, I mean, not spread out, obviously, but it wasn't like you were elbow to elbow with people the whole time. It was easy to move around and all that, like spacious enough so it wasn't a big deal. But it occurred to me that the first time I had done that since this whole thing started, and I went, all right.
Well, Mike, how's Florida?
Florida is half the state remains unvaccinated because of the fucking anti-vax movement. So,
dude, it's like that everywhere. Same.
I did see that the Florida was setting up emergency Regeneron tents, so people are willing to take the emergency treatment. But they weren't willing to take the emergency vaccine. So
no.
Fascinating.
We passed the 51% mark of vaccination, so that's good. Yay!
Your elderly is like 90% vaccinated, so that's good.
Yeah,
but
hopefully,
you guys, it's nothing special. You guys are about where we are with vaccination rates. It's
hopefully with this federal approval, because now there's all those people that were on the fence of like, well, it's just emergency approved, it's not federally approved. Well, now that that's there, I hope that some people will take the vaccine now that it's federally
and you've got
and I also look forward to whatever the new goalposts those people that still weren't going to take it have moved it to.
I also appreciate our governor outlawing mask mandates, and then the court's telling him to get fucked. So that's
well, you guys know where I stand on the whole mask mandate thing. I think that he can outlaw all he wants. Doesn't stop anybody from wearing them, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to wear it, wear it.
Well, like it is funny because I am not required to wear masks because I am vaccinated. So like the businesses all over are putting up signs that say, if you are fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. But then they're also like kind of barred from making sure that people adhere to that. So you just see people. It's basically the honor system, and I'm not sure I trust that at this point.
Mike, that's I was going to tell you. Like our vaccination rate in actual reality in Ohio is about the same as Florida's. But if you go into a store, it's 100%. Mm-hmm. There's like not a single person. Either I live in the most vaccinated place in the entire country, or there's some brothers out there lying about stuff. One of the two. Can't be both.
And I know here in California, despite we've actually done pretty decent with this Delta. It's risen for sure, but not as bad as other places. But we're definitely not getting any sort of lockdown or mandate or any of that, at least until September 15th, aka the day after the recall election. So we'll see.
Anyway, we've everybody knows it's COVID and it's fucking here and it's not going anywhere. So
yeah.
Fun.
Had a high school football game canceled this upcoming Friday because somebody on the other team got COVID. So
really,
that's how it goes.
Well, I'm just going to say it. Get the shot if you haven't. All right. If you know how many vaccines are out there that have had I've done a lot of searching for this, that have side effects 10 to 15 years down the road. I haven't found a single fucking one. Not one. So,
just do it. It's not hard.
It's not hard.
Don't turn it into something you got to fight about. It's just we've been arguing for years very loudly, especially on the internet. It's just like just do the fucking thing so we can all move on with our lives. There's lots of stuff we all want to do, and
I got it, and I never got a single solitary side effect. Not a one. Not one. Not even so much as like a fever. Nothing. So it's not a big deal. Just go do it. Go do
it. I mean. Again, I don't know who we have to convince at this point. Either you're somebody that was really just waiting for an official word and now you can do it, or you're just never going to do it and you're an asshole. And congratulations.
I am disappointed in the people from my generation. You people, all of us, myself included, we bought drugs from guys named like Lou at the fucking bar. We had no idea where they came from. Had no problem taking them. Didn't worry about side effects then, did we? Nope. Now today, all of a sudden, you're all these hey, never know what this might do to us in 10 years. Okay, fine. Idiots. I mean, like that cocaine was like FDA approved. Fuck off. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we should call it a night before I give away too much more of my past here. So we will see you all next week. We'll do more movie stuff, and then we've got National Football League action coming your way shortly.
Dun, 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 dun.
Follow us on, go ahead.
I was saying maybe we'll actually get around to the SEC conversation. You never know.
I think we should just make it like the Matt Damon, Jimmy Kimmel thing. Like we just never actually get to it.
No, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
All right. So follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitchers, the YouTubes, and all the other places where fine podcasting is sold. We will see you all next week.
Later.
Laters.